Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Sarah Banta with Accelerated Health Radio and TV. And today we have a special guest, Dr. Anna Cabeca. She's a triple board certified and fellow of OBGYN, integrative medicine, and anti-aging and regenerative medicine. She's been on the show before and specializes in menopause. And she's had her own story. Definitely check out our interviews on Accelerated Health Radio from the past. But what we're going to be talking about today is estrogen dominance, menopause. And if you're a man out there listening, don't turn this off because you need to know what's going on in the women of your life. And also a lot of men have estrogen dominance. This is something that is increasing more and more and more with our population, men and women. And it may be the result of overproduction of estrogen in the body, changes in estrogen metabolism and excretion, or an imbalance of estrogen to progesterone, and both men and women can suffer. But what are the symptoms of estrogen dominance? Endometriosis and fibroids, pelvic pain, breast tenderness, weight gain. You can't lose that weight like you used to. Man boobs in men, enlarged prostates in men, leptin resistance, hypothyroidism. I feel like every single client of mine comes to me with hypothyroidism. Menstrual irregularities for those women who are menstruating, mood changes, decreased libido in men and women, migraines, infertility, bloat, water retention, fatigue, constipation. Do any of these things sound familiar? Slow metabolism, and yes, cancer. What I want you to think about when we talk about estrogen dominance is that we want to be able to detox all the bad estrogens. Everybody needs estrogen, but something you may not know is that women actually have more testosterone than they do estrogen. It's just that we have more estrogen than men. So it's talked about as the female hormone, but we have the good estrogens, but we also need to detox the bad ones, and our livers need to be clean for that. So you have to think about phase one estrogen dominance or estrogen detox as how the liver is able to break down the estrogen. Phase two is how the liver is able to move the estrogens out of the liver. And phase three is how the gut is able to package the estrogens and excrete them out of the body. And it's imperative to focus on the liver and the microbiome for clearing estrogens. I actually just listened to someone talk about how the gallbladder and the liver are the organs that are needed most for that menopause age and for estrogens. Unhealthy bile from the liver and an unbalanced microbiome in the gut will raise those estrogen levels. So the following that will increase estrogen dominance is the dirty liver. The liver is responsible for producing the estrogen binding protein. And when the liver is dirty, it has a difficult time doing this. The liver is also where phase 1, 2, and 3 estrogen detoxification occurs. Number 2 is iodine deficiency. Who knew? Iodine is used by the endocrine system to regulate estrogen production in both men and women. And without ample iodine, estrogen dominance can occur. A study shows that 96% of Americans are iodine deficient. Now, what does that mean? That means if you're not supplementing, you are deficient because it really is not in our food supply. And the little iodine that is in our food supply is actually toxic from radiation, from Fukushima, from Chernobyl, or it comes in that iodized salt that is full of microplastics. And usually most iodine supplements only have a 10 to 20% absorption rate. So anyways, iodine is used to clean the blood so the liver can do its job in producing the estrogen binding protein. Iodine also helps break up the fatty liver. Without it, that risk of fatty liver disease will increase. The other things that are obvious: tap water, sugar, conventional meat, poultry, and dairy. Did you know that 90% of the livestock in the United States have estrogen implants placed behind their ears so that they grow fatter and faster? So you think about it, if they're trying to use estrogen to grow our animals fatter and faster, what is that estrogen doing to our bodies? Also the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, improperly combining foods. When you eat the wrong foods together and you're unable to digest the meal, it goes into acute metabolic acidosis, leading to an increase in estrogen in the body. Who knew? So the rule of thumb in properly combining food is fruit always by yourself, which is hard to do, proteins with vegetables or starches with vegetables, that's fine, but don't eat that steak and potatoes. A lot of you listening to Dr. Anna probably aren't eating a lot of the potatoes anyways, but we don't want to eat the proteins with the starches. Steak and potatoes, turkey on a turkey sandwich, those things are hard on your gut and could increase that estrogen. Overeating in general can increase estrogen. Plastics, plastic bottles, containers, all of those things, parabens, and then a lack of progesterone. So excess estrogen can also come from extremely low levels of progesterone, since they both attach to the same receptor site in the body. So a couple of those things. The other couple things: birth control, inflammation, oxidative stress, consuming soy. Soy is estrogenic. All soy is GMO and mimics estrogen in the body, leading to estrogen dominance. Consuming of the GMO foods and all the grains. So they're highly inflammatory. They cause microbiome imbalances, cause leaky gut, and inhibit that phase 2 estrogen detox. The aromatase converts the testosterone to estrogen, which heightens the estrogen dominance as well. Stress, of course, stress increases that issue in the body. Stress wreaks havoc on everything, right? It creates oxidation, inflammation, disrupts phase 1, 2, and 3 detox pathways, in addition to causing leaky gut and microbiome imbalances. And phase 3 transporters move many things in and out of the cells. As we age, those cell walls become rigid and toxins have a hard time getting out of the cell. Those toxins include the medicines you're taking, chemicals, hormones, and including that estrogen. So once they're out of the cell, they move to the kidneys, the urine, and the bile and the intestines. And what slows these down, the transporters, they are inflamed. Oxidative stress also causes that, toxic overload, and medications. All of this is then causing leaky gut, but then leaky gut will increase estrogen as well. Estrobolome, is the estrogen detoxifying microbiome. And in other words, it's the aggregate of the bacterial genes whose products are capable of metabolizing estrogens. And if it's compromised, then those estrogens are just going to recycle in the body. So I want to bring in Anna as we're talking about some of the things that could also backfire before we get into the diet part. But some of the supplements that people don't realize they could be taking that they think are detoxing them that could backfire are dim vegetables, including broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy. They are anti-estrogenic. That's great. But what happens if you have an issue with sulfur detoxification pathways and they cannot detox those that sulfur? Then you think you are detoxing those estrogens with the dim or the vegetables, but actually it's causing a backup in the liver. So you want to be really careful, and that's why I do tell a lot of my clients to be careful with those sulfur containing vegetables. This was me. I was eating keto, high protein. I knew fat didn't really work too well for me, so I always was a little lower on the fat, but I was eating a ton of cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower, and I was so bloated. I didn't understand why. As soon as I dropped those vegetables, which obviously was not a caloric problem, the water retention, the edema, the bloat went away. The other supplement that could backfire is glutathione. It's known to be the master antioxidant, and it helps with liver detoxification. But glutathione is backed with sulfur. So if you're taking a glutathione supplement, it could possibly be backing up your liver. That is why I love the LifeWave stem cell glutathione patch, because it increases your glutathione by over 300% in one day. But you're wearing it on your body just like this. You don't have to think about it, but it's actually making your own body produce its own glutathione. So you're not getting into that issue. Sulforaphane, same reason. It's got the sulfur, and that's a supplement that can help with estrogen detoxification, but also worsen the situation if it's going to back up your liver and you can't detox that sulfur. Another one, mushrooms. People use mushrooms for estrogen detoxification, but if someone is sensitive to mold, mushrooms could backfire, causing inflammation, liver backup, and allergies. So it's just a few things to think about. So I wanted to first highlight the iodine, the Acceleradine. This regulates estrogen production and cleans the blood so the liver can detox the estrogen properly. Iodine decreases estrogen in the receptor cells, which help reverse estrogen dominance. It also helps with fibroids, PCOS. I wish I knew about this when I had PCOS and couldn't get pregnant, and the other issues related to hormonal imbalances. And the Acceleradine is the only iodine that is 100% bioavailable and can feed all 100 trillion cells in your body, unlike other iodine supplements. It helps with hypothyroidism, detoxing the cells of all of those toxins, radiation, and the bad estrogens. It's the only iodine that is enhanced with scalar energy. It's radiation free, and it's able to reverse the damage done to the DNA from things like mRNA. So we are going to talk a little bit about the diets, and I want to then get into a few more of the supplements. So Anna, welcome back. How are you today?
I am so good. How are you?
I'm great, and I'm so excited to have you today because this is a topic that most of my audience is they're diving into, and they don't understand why they don't feel well. In fact, I was just talking to a friend this morning, and she was talking about how bad she feels about herself, how the stress is overwhelming. And I said, yes, life has gotten harder. There's pressure, so much pressure on us women. But in our age group, as you get into perimenopause and menopause, our stress hormones increase, right? Because we're not detoxing these estrogens. And then all of these things are just bubbling up, and we're feeling the stress so much worse. And I'm sure you're seeing that in your clients as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we always say cortisol is the key that unlocks the gate to healthy membranes. So when we're stressed, we're really creating some damage especially when it's prolonged. I do want to comment on the cruciferous vegetables and just remind people, like, you need digestive enzymes. Digestion starts in the mouth, and foods rich in fiber, are necessary prebiotics. But digestion starts in the mouth. And often I think one of the big things is that as we get older, our digestive enzymes tend to drop off, or we're drinking with our meals and diluting our digestive enzymes. And it makes it more challenging to digest fiber in all forms. And so I think that's a critical area as we get older, to make sure that we are ingesting enough prebiotics and probiotics and supporting our estrogen metabolism. And then that other comment too is looking, like you were talking about estrogen detoxification, and looking what gets measured gets managed, being able to look at how well are we doing, how well are we detoxifying estrogen, and look at those numbers, the 2,4,16 hydroxy and methoxy estrogen ratios, and what did those look like? Are we doing a good job, or where do we need to improve? And let's look at ways we can do that too.
Yeah, and I want to touch on, before we get into the diets that you're going to talk about, as you know, a lot of people have an issue with the digestion, and it's really important to have those enzymes. You might need, number one, the accelerated keto, which is the supplement that kicks you into fat burning within 30 minutes. But what it also is doing is it's helping you intermittent fast, which is helping heal the gut and giving you that time to heal the gut, because a lot of times that the detoxification is not happening because our gut is leaky, right? So the accelerated keto puts us into fat burning within 30 minutes. It helps to control the appetite and increase your physical and mental energy. And a lot of women at this age are commenting on brain fog. It teaches your body to utilize its own fat stores for energy. As your energy increases, your cravings for the sugar decrease, and you're able to intermittent fast and reduce that insulin resistance, cleanse the liver, clean up the excess estrogens, reduce inflammation, and reduce oxidative stress. And what's different about the accelerated keto versus any other ketone supplement is it has a whole bunch of other cofactors in the formula to increase that ATP production. And that ATP is our true cellular energy that goes down as we age. So it's really great that that's going to be increasing. It defats the liver, where the fat burning occurs and the hormones are regulated and the sugars are processed. And so this is where the liver is where the body can detox those xenoestrogens that lead to estrogen dominance. And then the one other thing I'll tack on with that is the Megaspore is a probiotic that I really like, because it's got a brain essentially. A lot of probiotics are just,
I love that probiotic too. I mean, I love your products. I'm like smiling. I love the accelerated keto. I love your iodine. I mean, those are really good. I mean, they're so good. And iodine is essential for every hormone receptor in our body. And so, and Megaspore biotic, I love that. Yeah, I love that product. Reminds me, I have to get more of all of the above.
Thank you. And it's really interesting when, people say, oh, well, I can't, I have to take this vitamin, I have to take this vitamin, or I need to get these, my B vitamins from grains. I love that one. And I'm saying, well, you're not absorbing them, because the grains are causing leaky gut, which then is nothing's being absorbed, right? So you have to heal the gut for the fat burning, for the nutrient absorption. And that's why I love pairing these supplements with your Menopause different plans. So as we're going through these plans, I want everyone to think about how they can use the Acceleradine to increase their ATP, increase their energy, their thyroid health, their brain health, get rid of the brain fog, the accelerated keto to help flip you into that fat burning, so that you can actually get off that weight loss plateau. I've had a lot of people come to me saying, I'm doing keto, I've intermittent fasted, but I'm hitting that plateau. And we're going to get into Anna's advice on that too. But that keto flips you into fat burning, starts targeting that visceral, liver, and abdominal fat that we want to get rid of. But we want to heal our gut as we do it. So, Anna, let's go through your 5 different plans and why you would use them. And I love this book. I love the recipes in it. And it's so easy and beautiful. It's a beautiful book too.
Yeah. So you guys, this is a book. Check it out. I mean, you're definitely going to want to get one for a friend too. So get a couple. It's available everywhere books are sold. And when just, it's full of really beautiful recipes and pictures and some of my favorites. So, just really gorgeous recipes and so much fun. So, and it's a heavy book. It's a tabletop book. And, it's practical because there are 5 6-day menu plans that each pause, hence menu pause, something specific. So there's so in the 5 plans, we do them each for 6 days because that's 2 72-hour cycles. Research shows that the gut mucosa reepithelializes, regenerates every 72 hours. So in 2 cycles, we get a real glimpse, a good wink of how we're doing, healing and does this agree with us or not? And 4 of the plans are all really keto green specifically. They're really to improve your body's insulin sensitivity. So diabetics, thyroid disease, heart disease, inflammation, all of that improves in these plans. And I wrote it because I'm working in my keto green way for since 2014, 2015, that there are sometimes we hit a plateau and say, what's going on? What do we need to shift, right? We always have to work out all the different things that could be blocking us. But sometimes it really comes down to food as medicine. So the first plan is what I call Keto Green Extreme. And that is following an autoimmune paleo protocol as well, an autoimmune protocol. So eliminating nightshades and peppers and eggplant and tomatoes and good things like that. So that's the first plan. And all plans are designed with intermittent fasting, no snacking, 2 or 3 meals a day. Typically all the menus have 3 meals a day, but you can go to 2 meals a day. I want to make sure you get enough protein in because that's so important as we get older and we tend to forget about that. And the second plan is more of a plant-based plan. And the reason it's there to bring in a lot of vegetables and diversity to support our gut microbiome. Plus, constipation is a really big problem in the keto community. And for many women and men as we get older and we need a bowel movement per day, one of the ways we detox is through our bowel movements. And if we are constipated, we're increasing our toxic reabsorption. And so it's really important. So the second plan is designed to help with those couple things. And the third plan is really a carnivore plan. And it's a carnivore-ish plan, but it's nose to tail and designed to help you really get some of those organ meats in and just see what a healthy plan looks like. And herbs and spices are put in there too. And the fourth plan is the cleanse. I call it the Keto Green Cleanse or Detox Cleanse. And that is just a powerful cleanse, 6 days of smoothies and bone broth, very healing for that gut mucosa. So for leaky gut, very healing. And then the fifth plan is because sometimes we have to carb up. So it's a healthy way, a 6-day plan, a healthy carb up plan. And if you're a cycling female, you'd want to do this in your luteal phase. You want to do that fifth plan in your luteal phase. And so those are the 5 different plans. And my gosh, the recipes, like the shakshuka down here, it's lovely. My Texas rodeo skillet is another one. Almond fig scones. And it's also bringing in ethnic foods, herbs, and spices from around the world.
I love it. And I love the variation. You touched on constipation, and that's something that a lot of women in general suffer from. I was talking to one client and she didn't think it was a problem that she only went once a week. Mm-hmm. And you have to think, well, when you were nursing and having your babies, how often did they poop? They pooped every single time they ate. That's what we're meant to do. And there's one supplement called Laxa Comfort that I have that does help you go every single day, because even when you eat as many vegetables as you are talking about, some people still have a problem. And then the question is too, and Anna, I'd love your opinion on this, when they go to the carnivore-ish diet, because I rotate. I love my carnivore days. I love my more vegan days. And I also love the days where I carb up. And it's really interesting when I see my thyroid and my metabolism kind of rev up when I have those carb days, incorporating those. But do you notice that when you're more carnivore-ish that you're not going to the bathroom quite as often as when you are on those strictly green days?
Yeah, definitely. I do for myself, and much better now. I said the first 30 years of my life were constipated. I had no idea, and until I stopped dairy. Dairy was the big thing that constipated me. I think my gut is so much improved now. That doesn't happen except when I have dairy. So even if it was like Parmesan sprinkled into a pesto sauce, it's so sad, but it's definitely true.
Yeah, and I tell a lot of my clients, if they're on a plateau, the two things that need to go are dairy and nuts. Nuts are, they were the big keto buzzword years ago when keto became such a big thing. But in nature, it actually is carbs and fat all in one. It kind of is the only, besides dairy, food source like that, where animal proteins are fat and protein. There's no carbs in it, and they're not necessary. That combination is what can cause weight gain. So if you're having any nuts in your diet and you can't get off that plateau, that is something to look at. I wanted to mention a couple other things that could be helpful for us women in that perimenopause, menopause age group, and that's magnesium. And I love the Magnesium Breakthrough from BioOptimizers. You can find it at Accelerated Health Products as well. But magnesium helps with phase 2 liver detoxification of estrogen, in addition to performing over 600 other biochemical reactions in the body. And then one other thing that I don't think most people realize is that choline. Women stop producing choline in menopause. In addition to helping with phase 2 liver detox, methylation of estrogen, and cell membrane support for that phase 3 detox, choline can actually help facilitate the burning of stored fat too. So that's something that I think is really important to look at. If you're not getting it, it's in eggs, egg yolks, and liver. So if you're not eating those foods, you may need to supplement. And I like the choline and inositol because that also helps with your sugar balance and insulin. But those are a couple of the things. Anna, do you have any other ideas that you want to throw out as far as people that are on that plateau?
Yeah, definitely it's shift things up. You have to change things up. If you're doing the same thing all the time, it's shifting. It can be a food sensitivity. I always joke that if I see chicken salad in your 3-day recall plan, I'm banning you from chicken salad. That's it. Because it's so many people, it's in their plan every single day. They think chicken salad is good for you. And chicken actually is high in alpha-linoleic acid, especially the way it's been farmed. And that's going to create a plateau and inflammation in your body. So eliminating the chicken, and it's so sad because we went from McDonald's to Chick-fil-A, and I love Chick-fil-A as a company actually. But it's just processed and it's not its purest free range form. And that's what we really have to identify. So that's one thing. And the second thing is you've got to do weight bearing exercises. I'm saying this out loud so I can remind myself to do that today. And that's the second thing. And the third is you make sure you're getting a good night's sleep. And then I use adaptogens too. Sarah's a big fan of my Mighty Maca Plus formula, my adaptogenic formula, and I don't go a day without it. And so that's been a big process, as well as progesterone cream in the evening to help with balancing your hormones and get a good night's sleep and decreasing the inflammation. So those are like two of the big supplements that I'll often add into my clients' regimen, along with digestive enzymes. Of course, eating them as much as possible, like fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, bitter melon, ginger, things like that is, really important to support the gut microbiome and bacteria. And yeah. So those are some big things that I find in working with patients. I have to shift.
Yeah. And the digestive enzymes, one that I do daily is the Berberine HCL, and that helps reduce inflammation, oxidative stress, but also
Betaine, yeah, betaine or
yes,
betaine.
berberine.
Oh, berberine HCL. I hadn't heard
Berberine.
that. I know betaine HCL. Okay.
Yeah, berberine HCL. So it's the berberine that acts just like metformin would, but the natural.
Berberine. I just never, realized it was a digestive enzyme.
And I love it because I'm prone to insulin resistance. I have to be very careful. And so the berberine helps keep my blood sugar low. And then the HCL helps me digest those proteins. And it's very helpful. So I take those with my meals. And then the one thing I want to touch on, and don't kill the messenger, and I'm sure, Anna, you have a few words on this, is alcohol. Alcohol increases estrogen, not in one way, not in two ways, but in three ways. And it increases small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which will increase the recycling of estrogen. Alcohol increases estrogen on its own, and it will increase the aromatase conversion of testosterone into estrogen in men and women. So if your man is complaining about his man boobs and the fact that he can't build the muscles that he used to, tell him he needs to stop drinking. And it's not even like over drinking. It could be just one drink a night that is changing your microbiome. I will be focusing on alcohol in a couple weeks. I feel like I'm going to get some hate mail on that one, but I think there's some facts that people need to know, and I'm going to be driving it down my kids' throats as well, because they actually are athletes and care about their bodies. But it's something that we want to feel good. So why are you drinking? Are you drinking because of the stress? And then that stress is increasing and increasing. And there's been studies to show that if you drink just a couple drinks a week, your baseline cortisol and baseline stress level is increased when you're not drinking. So that means that's part of the reason you are craving and wanting that alcohol even more, and you're not even going to be able to get that relaxation or that effect that you first got from it. So just something to think about in the back of your mind. The truth is about me and my husband is that before the accelerated keto, I was having a drink a night. But when I started doing accelerated keto and incorporating low carb and higher protein and getting my blood sugar stable and my hormones stabilized, then I didn't crave the alcohol. And I don't drink now, not that I'm against drinking at all, but I just don't feel the craving in it. And so that was just one thing I wanted to touch on. And both Anna and I are huge proponents of the intermittent fasting. It reduces inflammation, reduces estrogen dominance, reduces belly fat, improves the overall balance of hormones. But Anna, is there any type or any time that you tell people to stop intermittent fasting?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you can consider just changing things up periodically, like break fast, when you break fast in the morning without having an extended intermittent fast. I mean, that is perfectly fine occasionally. And because you want that metabolic flexibility. So certainly if you've hit a plateau, when you're doing keto, and this was an issue with me, like, was so comfortable in my keto, 1-2 meals a day, I wasn't getting enough protein. That created a metabolic dysfunction. And, and that was doing clean keto green, and just recognized I wasn't getting enough protein. I wasn't getting enough calories. And if you are on a calorie restricted diet, that will decrease your metabolic rate, and whether you're in ketosis or not. And I think that was information to me. Again, men do keto differently because they have 10 times the anabolic steroids that women do. They have 10 times as much testosterone and, several times as much DHEA, especially as women get older. So we have to take that into consideration. So for me, it's like, oh my gosh, am I getting enough protein in? And so that's been a key component in my life too, is just making sure that getting enough protein in. And the second piece, the other piece too, I just want to concur with Sarah, is that more and more in this, and I like grew up with a family of gastronomiques and sommeliers, and I remember for 7th grade, I made wine. I was like, we grew up with wine on the table. And my cousin's a famous sommelier. And so wine has been out, that piece of alcohol has always been a condiment. It's like to add flavor, to pair with a meal, to increase. And so over this year alone, I've done like 2 months of just complete abstaining from alcohol completely to give my body a break. And I love it just as a condiment with food. And so it is definitely, especially as we get older, one of those things. And hearing from other people in the health space, how critically, we've underestimated the potent estrogenic capacity of alcohol and adverse effects on us. It's really a shame, because I have a client, several. I've had so many patients over the year that have had breast cancer. And it's, I asked them, well, how much wine are you drinking? So I'm drinking a glass every night. My oncologist said it was good for me. And it's not. It's not. It's like, Russian roulette to the head, and especially in clients with estrogen positive breast cancer. So I want us to think about that and to not be afraid to completely stop it. And over time, it can really affect you. Someone I love very dearly just said, refused to give up the alcohol, and has been in the ICU for 2 months at a young age. And you think this is so unnecessary. It is so unnecessary because it is an irritant. It is an irritant. And for many of us with, healthy habits, it's not a big deal in the short term. It's a big deal in the chronicity and long term. It really is. And I say it and it hurts me to say it. It's like giving up dairy. It's like, oh no, I can't give up milk. I can't give up cheese. I can't give up yogurt. And, but it's one of those things. And I think it just helps too, when you create a healthy friend group around you that's not drinking every night and not, and it is definitely part of this great social scene. I'm part of a social club here in Dallas called Park House, and it's a private club in Highland Park Village. And it is, they were having an Aperol spritzer making a seminar. Like this Aperol is this great herbal, like almost like a medicinal alcohol that you put in a little champagne and put in some sparkling water, a slice of orange. And while I was in Paris and Italy this summer, I was drinking so much Aperol spritz, but I'd already said I'm abstaining for a while now. And they had this Aperol spritz class, and I was like, but it's medicinal. It's medicinal.
So what I'll do is I will take my wine glass or my red Solo cup, depending on what type of party I'm going to, and I put a LaCroix or a sparkling water and add maybe the Olaloa vitamin electrolyte drink, or just a slice of lime or lemon, and it tastes like a spritzer. And I honestly, my energy is so good from feeling good from the Acceleradine and the accelerated keto and eating clean and being balanced, that I don't miss the alcohol anymore. And it's amazing. And I know that's a far reach, but try it. Just give it a reset. Give your body a reset, and just go for 1 week, then 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, and see how you feel. Well, Anna, we're about out of time. Everybody has to follow her on social media, the Girlfriend Doctor, and get her book, the Menopause, and dranna.com is her website. She's one of my favorites to follow and to listen to, and just really doing so much good for all of us women out there and men, because you men have to deal with us women, right? And so you want us to be balanced hormonally so we can treat you right. But thank you, Anna, for coming on. And you can join my free group coaching. The link will be in the show notes below. And please invite your friends and family. There is no cost. We're trying to help as many people as possible. Follow me on social media at Accelerated Health Products. And you can join me for all of these lives on Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific time and Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So I always appreciate you liking or commenting or subscribing to the channel and sharing with your friends and family, because I truly am trying to help as many people out there as possible. So thanks, Anna, and everybody else. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.